Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. If you haven't been to my website, this is it, real-crypto.com. Here you can go ahead and check out the services we have to offer. We have the Real Crypto Power Hour, which we did the analysis we're going to talk about today in the Power Hour. And there's also some additional webinars and things that you may be interested in on the website. But let's get to the charts, because this video is all about the charts. Actually, pretty much everything I do is all about the charts, because the charts hold the truth. The charts hold the truth and everything else is speculation. And in today's video, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, capitulation is coming. I have one viewer who's going to go in the comments and start laughing his head off about this, and I think that's hilarious. But this is actually a serious video. We've begun a cycle which looks like it's about to end. So the bearish cycle of Bitcoin, we topped over here, had a little bit of a higher high over here in the middle towards the end of last year. And since then, we've really been in this bear market. It wasn't as feverish as the 2018, 2019 bear market, at least on a lot of levels, but in of itself, it was a bear market. Altcoins, as everybody knows, have been completely destroyed, many of them down 70+%, and that's probably going to get worse as well. So capitulation is coming. What does that mean? Well, the first thing it means, and one of the main reasons I'm doing this video, is because I just want to spread the word to the normal investors out there that are unaware of what is on the horizon. I'm going to say potentially on the horizon, but the signs are really lining up that we are in the middle of a very large capitulation-like crash. First of all, let's define what capitulation is. Capitulation is where everybody in the market essentially gives up all of their positions. In a nutshell, obviously not 100% of anything ever happens, but let's look at a couple of capitulations. Here is a capitulation. This was the 30K bottom where we were coming off of the nearly 70K top. You have a huge, extensive drop. If TradingView would cooperate with me, about a 48% drop over 6 to 7 days. That is a capitulative move. Most capitulative moves go approximately 45 to 50% in a very brief period of time. Here is a capitulative move. Another key signature of capitulative moves is very high volume. The reason your volume is so high is because everyone is giving up. The definition of capitulation is giving up. So here's extraordinarily high volume. Here's extraordinarily high volume. Let's look at another one. The 2015 bottom. There's a couple others, but I'm not going to bore you too much. Here's capitulation. Look at the volume. This is not capitulation in terms of the definition, but it is a form. Volume just isn't is broad because we've already been down here one time before. Most capitulations, I say most capitulations, you don't see levels like that very often. This was a form of capitulation. This was also a form of capitulation right off of the top. Each of these was about a 45 to 47% drop. On average, capitulations. So the inverse of a capitulation is a parabolic run. And I'd like to introduce you to a parabolic run. This is 2017. This is 2017's parabolic run. And this is where things get interesting. Before I go any further, I would like to give a shout out to one of my Power Hour members, Mike. Mike led us to this analysis. It's kind of his analysis, actually, but I expounded on it. And it's easy when you're the guy with the mouse and the screen and the microphone. So big shout out to Mike for bringing this to our full attention, even though we've been well aware of the bear market situation we're in. This is the potential end of it. And it's going to be a bit of a catastrophic end. So when we speak about capitulation, you also have to speak about the inverse to capitulations, which are parabolic moves. Our last major parabola was the 2017 parabola. And Mike pointed out a situation that what we're going through is very similar to a situation we went through in the 2017 markets, where we had a lot of moves, a lot of bases, and each of these sideways consolidation areas is a base. And in this environment, each base got subsequently shorter in duration and subsequently smaller in depth until we're left with the end of a parabolic run. And so you can see each of these bases was smaller in duration in terms of time and also shorter in depth in terms of percentage drop. Okay, these two are pretty close, but there is a difference. And here to here to here, it's pretty stark, the difference. Okay, so we're going to kind of stick with those three right now because it looks like we're in the middle of this third base, about to finish a run. And it's a run in the wrong direction. So let me change my chart a little bit. And I want to bring in our current market situation on the left. And I want to show our situation in 2017. And there are so many similarities here that it cannot be ignored. In terms of price action, in terms of volume, in terms of everything regarding those things, which is everything when it comes to technical analysis, we have a lot of similarities. So many similarities, it's scary. And it's a little hard to do it when the chart, one's pointing down, one's pointing up. So I'm going to flip my current data chart. I'm going to invert it. Okay? I'm going to invert it. And I do want to point out that I am going to omit all of this action on this omitted chart. The reason is because it's impossible to have this exact same chart through all of 2017 and all of this current market cycle. The reason being is because you can go infinitely higher. In other words, Bitcoin goes from $1 to $70,000. That is a 70,000% price increase. It's impossible to have a 70,000% price decrease. You can only go 100% lower. So what we're stuck with is this right here. And that's where these charts greatly parallel one another. And let me zoom in a little bit more over here. Okay, so this is what we're stuck with right now. And let me make one more adjustment, and I'll just do this just to make things a little bit more apples for apples. Let me go ahead and draw the same bases I have drawn here. Now, I do want to say something about the markets. They often rhyme, but they never repeat. They just don't, okay? They just never, ever repeat, but they often rhyme. What you're going to notice here is you're going to notice the same broad base, the same more narrow base, and actually we can, that can be broadened out to there. That's not a problem. And now we have a small consolidation or a very small base. A consolidation is really just a small base, or if you want to invert that, a large consolidation is a base. Either way you want to put it. But what I want to point out is a couple of things. The signature here with these moves is very similar in terms of, hey, the price action is getting more immediate. It doesn't take as long to break out, and it doesn't go down as deep. In this case, it doesn't go up as deep. Okay, because keep in mind, this is an inverted chart. I also want you to look at the volume. So between these two bases here, the two smaller ones, you have an interesting volume signature. And this isn't everything to the chart, but it's definitely unique to these two charts. You have this kind of two really elevated volume levels surrounded by this middle volume level over here. All right, so in this one you have high volume. This one happens to be at the low. This one happens to be at the high. Keep in mind this is an inverted chart. Okay, so this is support. This is distribution. Okay, and then over here we have a subsequent breakout to the upside on extraordinary volume. And then over here we also have, this happens to be a topping signature on extraordinary volume. And then after that we have a declining volume signature here, just as we have a declining volume signature here. Okay? So in this regard, our current market action is extremely similar to an inverted parabolic move vis-a-vis 2017. What does that mean, though? What does that mean for today? What is that? I say capitulation is incoming. It's imminent. What does that mean? What are the levels that we're looking at? Because I know everybody wants to know when and how far. And that's the only reason you're here in reality. Everybody wants to know when and how far. So let's go ahead and invert our inverted chart. And we're going to do, I'm going to show you one thing real quick. This last blast up doesn't look like much, does it? I mean, you got a nice big move here, 157%. So this has to be like, what, 40% or so. If you're going to use big, large numbers, which we are just for a little bit of simplicity, you go from 10,000 to almost 20,000. That's a pretty obvious 100% rise in the final throes of Bitcoin's parabolic move. Okay, you get a 100% rise. Well, what does that look like in a bear market? What does that look like in a downish market? Well, you can actually invert that because, believe it or not, we're knocking at 20,000. So if we break 20,000, what's the opposite of a doubling? It would be a halving. It'd be being cut in half. So let's cut things in half, but I'm going to cut it in half from a specific location. And I said earlier, we've already kind of started this bear market, so we're going to start here from this level. Right there, 25,000 and change, basically this low, and it says 25,365. And we can get really specific with this. I'm within $2, just eyeballing it and drawing it, which is pretty good. So we're just going to leave that. Keep in mind, these are big numbers, whether it's $10 or even $300 to $400 isn't going to make a huge difference because you're never going to catch that bottom number. But let's take 50% off of this level. Okay, right off the bat. We'll start there. 12,700. 12,700. So just so you know, we did the numbers during the power hour, and the average capitulative move down, and of course I don't have it right in front of me, but I did write it down. Here it is, 47.6%. So this is a little bit low. But I do want to point out that all of these are averages. We just had it. Just had it. I don't think I can do the percentage. That'd be pretty cool, though. Sorry, I'm fumbling with the damn chart here. All right, close enough. I didn't get any closer than that. 13,250, we'll call it. Why does that seem so strange to me? 13,250. All right, I just got dumber by the second here. There you go, close enough. Right? 13,275? Geez, sorry about that. So 13,275. Now, something else that often happens here when you're in these situations is, you can take an average like this, and it is what it is. It's an average. But there's another average that's also important to Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin generally pulls back about 82 to 85%. So here's 80. Let's just put out 85%. 10,300. Okay. So you have a pretty broad range. It's actually not even that broad, to be quite frank with you. It's about 10% difference up from 300, from 10,000 to 13,000. Actually, I'm sorry, that's 30%. I forgot how to do math. So I guess it's a little bit broad of a range, but the whole point is that if this is an inverted capitulation, or I'm sorry, inverted parabolic move, it's a capitulation. And the way the volume signatures are playing out and the way that things work on the way down, we are due a large incoming move of this sort. And I do believe it started up here at about the 25,200 level. We had alerts up here for the power hour in the show, and pretty much all of them got hit. One more interesting statistic, which is why I made this video. The average length of a capitulative move is 6.7 days. In my estimation, and I could be wrong about this. I mean, I could be wrong about all about this, right? But in my estimation, let's just call it 7 days, is June 20th, this next Monday. If we started capitulation right here, and we are capitulating, if that's a fact, if we're capitulating, this is going to happen this weekend. Could happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but it should generally happen within a week. The longest capitulative move that I have down here was 10 days. Here's all of them that I saw. 7 days, 4 days, 7 days, 5 days, 10 days. The outlier was the 10 days. So could take a week, could take less, could take a little bit more. But most capitulative moves happen quickly. You don't like lean into a capitulation. Now, with all of that being said, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, this is analysis that's just in the charts. This has nothing to do with fundamentally if Bitcoin's any good or not. People are going to bash the analysis. A lot of people are going to say 20,000 is going to hold. And for your sake, I hope it does. But the main point of this video is that I want you to take in this information and just run a scenario through your head where Bitcoin's down towards 13,000, down towards 12,000, 10,000. What are you going to do if it goes down there? Because the charts have a plan, and they usually do. It's harder to read on the extreme right side of the chart, but the information is right here for you. There's no secrets in this. There's no secrets in the charts. This is the most transparent thing probably in the world that can make you some money is the markets, but it's about interpreting them and acting on them appropriately. So if you don't believe it's going to go below 20,000, I think you have an excellent entry point, and it's what I call a low risk entry. All right, if you think we're not going below 20,000, you have a $500 stop loss for a potentially infinite gain. But if you listen to the charts and you listen to what the charts are telling you, the charts are not telling you that we're done going down at 20,000 because we've been down here for 3 days, arguably 4. We're happy down here. We like it down here. If you look at our volume signatures are happy down here. We went from extreme volume to today fairly normal volume, and the day is going to end in a little bit under 2 hours. So we're happy down here at 20,000. I want to ask you something. Let's go look back at some of the lows some definitive lows we've put in, and let me know if we stayed down there very long. Here's a 30,000. We had a very quick bounce off of it from 30 to 40,000. That's a 33% bounce. That's some pretty easy math right there. Okay? Very quick bounce right there. This was just a base low, it wasn't really a major low, but look, we bounced really heavily off of there. I'm just picking lows on the chart. I mean, look at this low. This low had an enormous bounce up on, the biggest volume, almost ever. Look at that, going all the way back into 2016. That is the largest volume. So that is a low. Did that stay down there for 4 days? No, it didn't. Let's go down to another low. It was really definitive. I'm talking capitulative bottoms here. Here's a low, wicked up dramatically from 10,500 to 14,000. Did it say 6K long? Eventually it did, but initially it bounced in dramatic fashion, and I'm not going to omit this low. Okay? This could be a scenario where all of everything I showed you could go wrong. Okay? This is a scenario where we did not capitulate. This was the low after the 6,000 drop, and this was not a capitulation. We had a very big volume candle, but we went underneath of it. So that nullifies this as a capitulative candle. Okay? So let's say we're right here in our story, and we go down a little bit further. Well, we have additional ways to address the market in this situation. But one thing you don't want to do is identify this as a massive low, buy down here, and then get undercut by 25%. Okay, if you're comfortable with that, if you want to hold this forever, I guess I'm not mad at it. Again, like I said a moment ago, I just want you to be aware of the possibilities that are implied in the charts. I've seen a few other videos out there just trying to get some alternative viewpoints, and there's some people that are saying that, yeah, we've bottomed out here. There's a bunch of signs over here that say that we've bottomed, using various metrics. I'm not going to name them. You can look up some videos yourself, but there are some people that say we've bottomed down here and that this is a great time to buy Bitcoin. Well, I'm going to say this. Compared to 70,000, 20,000 is pretty good. It's not a bad time to buy Bitcoin. Just be okay if it goes to 10. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not trying to panic you. I'm not trying to run you away from Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's great. I'm going to be here the next time it's at 70,000, okay? But today, at 20,000, I don't think it's the best investment you can make. I think it's very likely to go lower. It's very likely to go between $13,000 and $10,000, okay? And it's a function of two things. Number one, this inverted parabolic move, which it looks very similar to the parabolic move we had in 2017, and also the fact that, yes, we're in a bear market, and the fact that Bitcoin does do 80 to 85% retracements. So you absolutely have price levels that are implied in the charts, and we haven't reversed the action in the charts yet. So if you want to say the market is bullish here because you don't want it to go lower, you need to see if that's your bias. Because if you can't believe it can go lower, what are you going to do if it does? If you still say it can't, then I can't help you. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the video for today. I want to thank you. I want you to share this video because there's some people that don't believe this can happen, and I don't want people to get hurt because they're misinformed, because they're uninformed, because they're listening to people that don't know what they're talking about. I don't post a tremendous amount of videos anymore, but I thought this one was really important, and I'm a little bit upset with myself that I missed this. Now, we didn't miss the bear flag breaking down, we didn't miss this flag breaking down, but I missed the entirety of the fact that we're moving towards a capitulation, and so soon. So that's my bad, but I'm bringing this to you the day that we find it. And so do with the information what you will. I do hope you would check into our services at real-crypto.com. And hey, if you like what I had to say here today and you're looking for a community with some experienced traders and you don't want to join a service that'll cost you some fiat, go ahead and join our community in Slack for free right here on the button right on the top of my homepage. And you can join in the conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Have a great day.